Okay, we have gotten Google Earth Pro from Google and installed the software. We have gone to MEXLIST and downloaded the 4 folders and unzipped them and took a little bit of a look at what's inside and what those are. Now we're gonna launch Google Earth Pro and look at one of the files in it. So to do that, double click a file, and that launches the application and opens the file in the application. A couple of things. Let's see. First of all, so the file is open in Google Earth Pro, and it's in a little folder called Temporary Places. What are we looking at? This thing, you really need this to control the software and do anything meaningful. It's called the sidebar. That's their term for it. If you launch the software and it's not showing, here's how you turn it on. You toggle it on and off under this view menu. You need this. Without it, you really can't do much. So this file right now is loaded into a spot called Temporary Places, and that anything in this folder does not get saved if you close the file or if it crashes or whatever. This will not be saved. You can save it if you make changes. This is not really this is a topic for a different video, but you can, if you right click the object and you select an object in this sidebar by moving your cursor over it and left clicking once. That's just a normal click. Click one time, that is now selected. Now that's selected. It gets blue when it's selected. Once a thing is selected, you can do a couple things. You can right click and you've got these various choices. One of the choices is properties. You could rename this if you wanted to. You can make it all a different color if you care to. And there might be reasons why you might want to. You might want this to be purple, or whatever. A couple other things you can do when an object is selected in this view menu, in this sidebar, I'm sorry, is you can move your cursor. I'm gonna minimize or change the size of the window to be sure that you see this. I'm gonna move my cursor down to the lower left, and the cursor is now circling that little icon. That is an adjust opacity button, and that, if I press that, you get a slider, and now an opacity adjustment will affect anything that is selected. Now in this case, I've got the main folder selected, so it'll affect everything in that main folder, which happens to be all the stuff that we have open that we're looking at. If you put the slider, if I select Temporary Places, the main folder, the FSRR file, the Federal Sewer Map file, is in Temporary Places, contained within, so that achieves the same effect. If there were other things in Temporary Places, here, let's put other things in Temporary Places so we can understand that distinction. Here's Kansas City Southern. I'm going to double click, turn it all on. That checkbox, by the way, turns things on and off. View, unview. So now you'll understand this very graphically. KCSM is selected. Press the opacity, adjust opacity button to get the slider, and you can see that KCSM fades in and out of view. If I now select Federal Sewer, that fades in and out of view. If I select Temporary Places, everything in Temporary Places fades out of view, which in this case happens to be everything. A couple more things quick. That little caret expands the folder structure, the internal folder structure of the file. If you double click an item or a folder or a subfolder or an individual item within a folder, Google Earth will fly to, you know, the folder or the individual item within the folder. So, you know, KCSM, if I double click, it flies to the whole map. Let's see. 3D navigation. Well, 2D navigation or whatever, vertical, in and out, closer, farther away. This is the scroll wheel is one way to achieve that. Just rotate the scroll wheel and you can see press and hold center mouse button sort of lets you pan like this. So we got zoom with the scroll wheel, pan with the mouse button, held, pushed, and not clicked but held down. You can also achieve zoom with this bar over on the left. Let's see, 3D navigation. Two ways to achieve this. With this, you can either, we're going to scroll in to get close to an interesting area. We want it to be topographically interesting. Now I'm going to press and hold this center mouse button, the scroll wheel. And as you press and hold the scroll wheel down, if you move the mouse around, you get this. You're moving in 3D. You can achieve the same thing by pressing and holding the shift button, and then press and hold the left mouse button, and zoom around like this. Let's see, a couple other things quick. If you get yourself disoriented, if you press N, that'll rotate north. If you press U, that'll rotate up. And I think it was if you press N, no, that's north, U is up. What was it for everything? It might be R. Yeah, R does both of those things at once. So it returns you from whatever you know, view you've gotten yourself in. Press R and you go to north, up, vertical orientation. So that'll help you get reoriented if you get screwed up. That's also handy because it involves the keyboard. For a bunch of reasons, it involves the keyboard and not the mouse. And I think that's probably enough to get everybody going at this point. We didn't really make any changes. That's a future video, making changes that'll affect your ability to see things or understand things. Let's turn on. We're going to turn on a little. We're going to turn on a little bit of text. We're going to go to Federal Sewer, double click on the employee timetable information. Couple of things. So here's the internal folder structure of one of these files. Again, if you double click, it behaves basically the same way. If you double click on an element in the list, you fly to that list. If you you fly to that element. We're going to 3D navigate and look around. If you press this thing and there's information, this information here, SC309.365, you can see that. Oh, you got to get one. There we go. That is linea SC kilometer 309.365. Anyway, that's sort of how that feature works. I think that's it. I think that'll get you running and able to understand stuff. So thanks very much. Next video we'll discuss how to make a few changes that you might want to make to affect your ability to see and use the software. Maybe you want to change the colors, line thicknesses, size of text. Those things can be really important. So that's next.